Hello, everyone. It's Ms. Suzie. Our story is called How I Met My Monster, written by Amanda Knoll and illustrated by Howard McWilliam. Illustrations are the pictures in the book. We start off with the little boy in his bedroom. One night, when I reached under the bed for my truck, I found this note instead. Monsters, meet me here for final test, Z. My parents were obviously playing a trick to make me stay in bed. I don't believe in monsters. And there's that note. I crumpled up the paper, I grabbed my truck, and I went to the garage. I heard some creaking, some rumbling, but I wasn't scared. There's always those kind of noises at my house at night. But then I heard something from under my bed. "Stop that stomach rumbling. The child will hear you." Voices? Stomach rumbling? If this is part of the trick that my mom and dad were trying to play, it was pretty cool. I peered under my bed into the inky blackness, and 5 pairs of eyes were blinking back. "See, now he knows we're here," the voice sighed. "One of you is broken. The monster rule number 1. Maintain the element of surprise." This is no trick, I thought. There are monsters under my bed. A long-necked yellow monster slid out, followed by 4 little monsters. "Rule number 2, the yellow one said. "Never block the bed. All of you scoot over." Hey, I realized, that one must be their teacher. I sat up straight, mesmerized by the monster parade shuffling across my bedroom. The yellow one is the teacher. "That's better," the teacher monster said. "Access to the bed is clear. Now who knows rule number 2? The purple monster teetered on his tiptoes and gurgled. "Get the child into bed." "That's correct, Genghis. And how would you do that?" "Well, Mr. Z, I would roar my biggest roar." "All right, give it a go." So Genghis took a deep breath, opened all of his mouths, and blurp. Stomach rumbling would have a better chance of scaring me and getting me into bed than that funny little sound. I laughed. "The child is right," Mr. Z said, shaking his head. "That was not sufficiently scary, Genghis. I'm sorry you're not the best monster for this child." There was some creaking as Genghis slunk beneath the bed. Before I could investigate where Genghis had gone, Mr. Z asked, "Now, who wants to get this child to bed?" The orange monster looked at the ceiling, and the red monster looked at the floor. But the green monster looked right at me. There's the green monster. The green monster started looking at my toes and then began to drool. Ah. Then he took a step toward me. and I heard that rumbling noise again. I sprang into bed so he couldn't get my foot. Mr. Z blinked. "Very unconventional, Gabe. Your stomach gurgles seem to be what this child needs." What I needed was to make sure that Gabe monster didn't eat my toes. "All right, you three. The child is now in bed," said Mr. Z. "That every monster knows this. The main objective. It's rule number 4. Who can tell us what that is?" The orange monster bounced and squeaked. "Keep the child in bed until he falls asleep." "Correct, Morgan. And how would you accomplish that?" "Shadow puppets! Shadow puppets!" she squealed again. Gabe whistled through his nose. I snickered, but Mr. Z said, "Interesting idea. Try it." Morgan hopped onto my night table and flailed her arms near my lamp. Silly shadows bobbled onto the wall, and a cloud of fluff tickled my nose and... "Morgan, stop it at once," Mr. Z ordered. "You're supposed to scare him, not make him sneeze. I'm sorry, but you're not a match for him either." Morgan's arm flopped to her side as she scuttled under my bed. There was more creaking, and Morgan was gone. After all that sneezing, I really needed a tissue. Suddenly, a large shadow of uncut claws appeared. Awesome, I thought. That's kind of scary. But I froze in place. "Powerful performance, Gabe," said Mr. Z. "But do either of you see a problem?" "Oh, I know," chirped the red monster. "Child is out of bed again." "Correct, Abigail," Mr. Z continued. "And one of you must get him back in. Let us revisit rule number 1. Maintain the element of surprise." And all at once, poof! The monsters were gone. Then I heard rumbling. Were they hiding in my closet? Were they making noises to scare me? But I discovered it was my own tummy rumbling. Little gurgles out of his tummy. So I tiptoed past the closet and peeked under the door. Good news, no monsters yet. I hit the squeaky step and snuck down to the kitchen. As I reached into the pantry, I heard some chattering behind me. It sure wasn't sounding like that toe-loving Gabe. I opened the fridge and, it wasn't Gabe. It was the red monster, shivering. I found you. Nice try, Abigail, said Mr. Z. But this isn't working. You're not the right monster for this child. But Mr. Z, she whined. It's not my fault. He's not scared of me. I'm sorry, Abigail. Let's go. Abigail clomped behind Mr. Z, and when I heard the creaking, I knew she was gone. I grabbed some crackers, and I headed upstairs. I wondered if Gabe was gone too. I munched all the way down the hall. I went into the bathroom to brush my teeth again, and when I opened the door, there was Gabe. He was not gone. He was huge! I charged into my room, and I slammed the door, and I leapt into bed, so I know my toes were safe. Whew! Look how fast he ran. and I was surprised to hear some breathing under my bed and some stomach rumbling.
Hankin! Hankin! Good to see ya!
I pulled my covers up tight.
Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to start the evening with an ominous puddle of drool.
I peeked over the edge of the bed. Green ooze spread soundlessly from underneath. Ugh, look at that goo. Then the bed quivered, and Gabe, oh my gosh, you have to see this, Gabe unfurled his tail, and it had spikes. Well, this looks quite promising, Mr. Z said. When I heard some more creaking, I knew that Mr. Z was gone. I was alone with Gabe and his tail. Gabe loomed over my bed and began sharpening his uncut claws on my bedpost. How'd you get so big? I gasped.
Rule number 3, my friend. People food makes monsters grow. So thanks for the crackers. Got any toes I can munch on?
Look at that. He wants to eat his toes. I scrunched in my feet so Gabe couldn't get to them, and this was way better than playing with my trucks. No toast tonight, but you can have this, I offered, tossing a stuffed monster to the floor. Gabe dove for it. His soft, comforting snorts filled the room as he snuffled the toy. I shivered.
Kim, I think this is going to be the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
No other monster could scare me like you, I giggled. Gabe was the monster for me. His snorts and ooze were perfect. I yawned, shivered again, and I was asleep in no time. See you next time, everybody. I hope you have a good night's rest.